What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Today, we've got another live fantasy football mock draft for you back on Fantasy Pros with a 10-team full PPR mock where we will be selecting first overall, so should be pretty interesting. Our roster, 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, a flex, and then 5 bench spots. But that's really all you need to know, so let's get right into it. And while we wait, if you guys enjoy, hit that like button, subscribe, give us a follow on Twitter at AllDayPigskin to continue interacting with us there. Let us hear it in the comment section. Do you agree, disagree, along with any other questions you guys might have? We will do our best to answer them all. But with that being said, let's kick this thing off. And obviously, we have the 101 pick here. This is full PPR. So, Christian McCaffrey has been the consensus 101 pick for months now, and in fact, for the last couple of years as well. He is obviously now on the San Francisco 49ers, but even with that being the case, he is the 101. And I will say, look, I'm not as bullish on McCaffrey as some people are, because, the 49ers will use Elijah Mitchell still. And I think that will take away from McCaffrey a little bit. But because of what he can do as a pass catcher, that's just so valuable. I'm a little bit worried about the quarterback situation. But I do believe it'll either be Sam Darnold or Purdy. That's the quarterback. I think the Trey Lance experiment is over. And he's really the guy that scares me off Christian McCaffrey, because I think he's just going to take away so many running opportunities away from him. He's inaccurate compared to the other two guys. I think that's a worst case scenario, but I don't see it happening. So I'm leaning McCaffrey here. Otherwise, Eckler, Jonathan Taylor, both very good choices. I wouldn't have an issue taking either one, at the 101 pick. It'd probably be Eckler, honestly. Either way, both decent choices, but I'm going to go with the typical selection in Christian McCaffrey. And now let's see what we have available to us in the second round, because this is really where the draft starts, right? This is really where it gets interesting. And just kind of breaking down the first couple of picks, we saw McCaffrey, Eckler, Bijan Robinson at the 103 ahead of Barkley and Jonathan Taylor. Speaking of Jonathan Taylor, he goes at the 109. Holy cow. That is the furthest I've seen him slide. The reason for that, we saw Jefferson, Jamar Chase go early, Travis Kelce go at the 107. And I will say it is important to get a positional advantage in smaller leagues, 10-team league versus a 12-team league. But I would not have taken Travis Kelce if Jonathan Taylor was still there ahead of him. Tyreek Hill also sneaking to the 108. Very interesting. Tony Pollard at the 110. Okay, Ramondre Stevenson. And then you see a run on those top-notch wide receivers. So Cooper Kupp, Devontae Adams, CeeDee Lamb, Josh Jacobs goes to the 205, Stephon Diggs, and then Henry, Breece Hall. And I would call this a surprise. Jahmyr Gibbs goes at the 209, a round later than Bijan Robinson. I guess a round and a half later. But I don't know how you can justify taking him ahead of Nick Chubb or some of these other running backs. I think he's going to be, even though he could be the running back of the future, at least for this season, he's going to be in a committee approach with David Montgomery. So right now, I don't know how you don't take Nick Chubb as one of these picks. I realize that it's PPR, but Nick Chubb is going to be the guy for Cleveland. There's no more Kareem Hunt. So it's a pretty easy selection. If it wasn't Nick Chubb here, I'd probably just go A.J. Brown and Amon-Ra St. Brown, keep it simple. But, we've got 2 very good running backs right now. I'm going to address the wide receiver position. I'm going to go with Amon-Ra over A.J. Brown. I think he's going to get, higher volume and has less competition for targets, honestly. Jameson Williams is suspended for the first 6 games, so there's that. Whereas... sure, A.J. Brown, very capable of those big games, but can also go kind of cold from time to time. So now let's take a look at the draft board again, and we see Amon-Ra went with our last pick, then T.J. Hawkinson, A.J. Brown, Andrews. Hawk goes ahead of Mark Andrews. I'm not the biggest Mark Andrews believer just because, I don't think that's that pass heavy of an offense. Garrett Wilson, Travis Etienne, Jalen Waddle, Chris Olave. Great value on these three wide receivers here. Aaron Jones, Keenan Allen. Despite him being like 50 years old, still going in the third round, end of the third round. I mean, PPR format's very valuable. Devonta Smith, T. Higgins, maybe dropping a little bit. But again, it's deeper leagues. Teams are going to be deeper. Keep that in mind. Najee Harris, Kenneth Walker, good value for those guys in the fourth round. DK Metcalf, J.K. Dobbins, Dalvin Cook. And then DeAndre Hopkins and Chris Godwin. This is still a little bit too rich for my blood. Hopkins, taking him right now as he's a free agent. We don't really know where he's going to land. We anticipate it'll be somewhere that'll be very good for fantasy purposes, but I mean, we don't really know. He could go chase money. It really is up to him. So there is that, and he could go in an offense that already has a lot of targets. So a lot to think about there. We're definitely going to break that down once he lands on a team. So now, we could go wide receiver here. We have, just to remind you, McCaffrey, Chubb, and Amon-Ra. If we went wide receiver, I'd probably be looking at DJ Moore. I already have Nick Chubb. I don't want to load up too much on the Cleveland Browns offense. Michael Pittman, also not a bad choice. Same with Terry McLaurin. So right now, DJ Moore is probably one of my choices. Miles Sanders, I'm also really tempted by Miles Sanders here. I have him ranked ahead all of these other running backs like Joe Mixon. That situation there in Cincinnati, there was some non-commitment to him in his status. I don't know. And also, I just think Miles Sanders is going to see a lot of volume. But you could argue you already have Christian McCaffrey, Nick Chubb. You can wait on another running back, and I totally understand that. Get that next wide receiver, who would be DJ Moore, or we could get really kind of, well, there's no other way to say it. Just reach happy. I don't know, but I don't even know if it would be a reach. Go Patrick Mahomes. Just go greedy. Patrick Mahomes, George Kittle, call it a day. Get those positional advantages. I do think one of our picks here is going to be Patrick Mahomes. Honestly, I do. The top quarterback, either him or Jalen Hurts. So that's kind of what I'm looking at here. I'll probably go Patrick Mahomes and then DJ Moore, honestly. That's kind of the way I'm leaning. So I'm curious what the quarterback recommendations are. Okay, Patrick Mahomes. So we're going to go Patty Mahomes here. And then wide receiver, I really do think DJ Moore is going to help things out in Chicago. But, we could go with somebody like a, maybe if he falls to us in the next round, somebody like a Marquise Brown now without DeAndre Hopkins, a Calvin Ridley. And I don't think the separation is going to be all that much compared to them and a DJ Moore. Let's do that. You know what? Let's kind of, like I said before, get greedy and go with George Kittle here, I guess. Go with the next top tight end. Get those positional advantages here in this 10-team league and then see what happens. Kind of kicking myself right now because I see that Kyle Pitts falls to us. It is what it is. It's tough to plan for that, but oh well. So Kyle Pitts obviously won't be our pick, but look, this is exactly what I mean. I'm actually kind of happy it broke this way with these 10-team leagues because there's just so much more value. Two less teams makes a whole lot of difference. You wouldn't think it does, but in the long run, it will because, there's maybe earlier quarterback runs, earlier tight end runs, and now a guy that we were considering before, Miles Sanders, is still there for us. That's absolutely nuts. Miles Sanders is there. Marquise Brown is still there. To me, this is a no-brainer. I'm going Miles Sanders here, like, immediately, and then the next wide receiver is probably going to be Marquise Brown. Like Terry McLaurin, I don't trust the quarterback situation in Washington. And I know that's kind of rich considering that we don't know what's going to happen with Kyler Murray in Arizona. But Marquise Brown is just going to see so many targets that it's tough not to like him. So, I'm probably going to go Marquise Brown here, and I don't think his ADP has truly been adjusted to what it should be now without DeAndre Hopkins. So let's go with Marquise Brown. It's going to say it's a reach. Calm down. I disagree with that. Let's see where Calvin Ridley goes. Ooh, I think I just saw his name pop across, the history here. So kind of happy I went wide receiver. And yeah, let's see where Calvin Ridley went. So we went Marquise Brown. Calvin Ridley went only 3 picks afterwards. Terry McLaurin, a lot of wide receivers here. So Watson, Judy, Christian Watson, Deontay Johnson, Brendan Ayuk, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Mike Williams, Mike Evans. So some interesting running backs too. Alvin Kamara, James Conner, Alexander Madison. That Madison pick could be a home run pick, especially Dalvin Cook gets cut. So keep that in mind. But I like the way this thing is kind of played out for us. Javonte Williams right now would be a luxury pick. No other way to really say that because, with him, it's a situation where is he going to come back 100% from that injury? I doubt it. It's going to take some time for him to get to those levels where he was at before. So as far as wide receivers, also crazy that Kyle Pitts is still available. So I guess it's not that crazy since we just took Miles Sanders and we have back-to-back picks. But right now I'm probably leaning. I guess I'm going for the upside. I'm leaning Javonte Williams. It's either going to be him or Jahan Dotson. I think he's going to be the second option in Washington, but for all the reasons that I didn't take Terry McLaurin, also why Jahan also kind of worries me. Pickens, I don't believe in Kenny Pickett. A lot of mouths to feed in Denver. Rashad Bateman, not on a pass-heavy offense. So a lot of questions at this point in time. I guess I could go with a Michael Thomas, but I think he's going to be there for me afterwards. So I'm just going to go with Javonte Williams. I think it's a potential, like I said before, it's a luxury pick. No, make no mistake about it, but it could pan out. So, oh well. Now, what are we going to do here? What are we going to do? I completely lost track of where we were picking. I thought that we had another, 20 picks in between our next selection. So never mind. What I said about Kyle Pitts still being there is very, very relevant still. We could go, man, how greedy do we want to get? Do we go Kyle Pitts and George Kittle if something happens to Kittle? I think I do, honestly. Man, this is a very atypical draft for me, but hell, just caution to the wind. I like how we've got names. We've definitely got names here, folks. So you're seeing all these thumbs up we're getting here left and right. We're getting good value picks, no doubt about it. So wide receiver now, we only have 2 wide receivers. We definitely got to address the position. I don't know how Jahan Dotson is still there for us. This is absolutely insane. I haven't seen this type of value in a long time. This is bananas. Folks, I feel like this is the definition of going best player available, like round by round by round. This is breaking for us as exceptionally well. So let's just go Jahan Dotson here and not put another second of thought into it. So we've already got Patrick Mahomes, we got Kittle, we got Pitts, we got McCaffrey, Chubb, Amon-Ra. Holy cow, folks. I love this draft for us. Question is now, who do we draft? Do we reach at this point now for a Michael Thomas? Do we go with a high upside guy like Rashad Bateman? Can he stay healthy? Brennan Cooks, but he's got to contend with Michael Gallup. All very good questions. I'll probably go with Michael Thomas, I guess. We're going for upside at this point in time. So let's just do it. Let's just go for it. Kind of a luxury pick. Rashad Bateman's still there. At this point in time, I'm probably going to take him. Let's see if we're, kind of forgetting about any rookies or something like that. Any names that stand out? Quinn Johnston, no thank you. Elijah Moore, meh. I think he's, it's either him or Rashad Bateman. The question is, can Rashad Bateman be the 101? You add Zay Jones, you add Odell Beckham, so those are definitely, viable worries. I might go Elijah Moore here, kind of talk myself into it, or Alan Lazard, the number 2 for the New York Jets, opposite Wilson. I think that's also a decent pick. I really do, with Aaron Rodgers throwing him the football. But let's go with Elijah Moore. I'm a believer in him. Cleveland traded for him for a reason. So let's add him and see what draft grade we get. I'm going to be very, very curious, but I really like this team. We got a B plus. I think you can argue this is an A roster. I mean, we got the best quarterback, Patrick Mahomes. We got Christian McCaffrey. We got Nick Chubb, Amon-Ra, Marquise Brown without D Hop. We got George Kittle. We got Miles Sanders as our flex. Javonte Williams was a luxury pick. So was Kyle Pitts. But I mean, at their values, tough to ignore them. We were able to get Jahan Dotson as well, Michael Thomas, Elijah Moore. If one of those guys hits, we're in a great spot. I think this is an A roster. I'm going to go ahead and say it. But hey, let me know your thoughts. Do you agree, disagree? Let me hear it in the comments section. If you enjoyed, hit that like button, subscribe. Give us a follow on Twitter at AllDayPigskin to continue interacting with us there. But in the meantime, we'll see you guys in future videos.